Hi, welcome to Trust and Obey with Chuck Frank, and this is a Friday G-RIFF titled, I Don't Get It. And I don't get it. Okay, here's what I don't get. I don't get that we could have the most important election in the history of our country, and here's the vote totals for 2024. Harris just got 68 million and Trump got 72 million. Okay, so that's kind of tight. It's kind of tight when you see the just unbelievable effort that Trump put into this, doing 3 rallies a day to 150,000 people a day and filling Madison Square Garden and all these other huge venues. And he got more votes in 2020 than he got in 2024. So I don't get it. Okay, here's something else I don't get. In 2020, Joe Biden, right, dynamic lion of the Senate, he got 81 million and 306 electoral votes in 2020. And Trump got 2,000 more votes than he got in 2024. So in 2020, he got 74 million plus, and he only got 232 electoral votes. So I don't get that. I don't get how Trump in 2020 gets only 2 million more than he does in 2024. But here's the thing that really, really I don't get at all. And that is that in 2020, Biden got over 81 million. 2024, Harris got barely 68 million. And that means there's over 13 million Dems who didn't come. And listen, I worked this election. I was working it in Florida at a library. I was working 2 weeks of early voting, right? I saw what was going on. I was posted in a driveway with Trump signs and acting out on the highway and getting trucks to blast their horns and interfacing with everybody. And you know what? Most of the time, there were no Dems in the driveway advocating for the other side. If they were coming, taking selfies, taking group pictures, talking among themselves. But like the attitude was for 2 weeks, we got this. We got this. Come on, it's going to be easy enough. And I was like, yeah, well, I don't think we got this. And so I'm like acting like a lunatic out there trying to get people riled up about coming in and early voting. And then we get to last Sunday. So for almost 2 weeks, just very casual response from the Democrats, not vocal at all, just having a nice social time among themselves, not really reaching out. But on Sunday, a complete sea change, right? I go to church, I teach an adult Sunday school, I go to the service, we have communion, we're praying about the election, and I barely have time to get to my post at the library on Sunday from 1 to 5. I show up there, unrecognizable. Now there's 6 Democrat women where there had been 0 or 1 normally, and they're just not out there. They're out there screaming, yelling, jumping up and down, yelling to cars, a complete and utter change in behavior. And out in the traffic flow, there's Dems driving back and forth, honking their horns, hanging out the car window, yelling Harris and flipping us off, and a complete change. And then the people coming in for the early voting, there were more Democrats than Republicans. And I'm like, wow, when these people need to, they get the word. They must get the word from the media and the newspapers, and it's get out there and get the vote. Get out there. On Sunday, they dominated, absolutely dominated. So here's what I don't get. Okay, it's after the election, and all I see are these urban women yelling into their phones. Black women saying, I'm going to be a slave when I wake up tomorrow. White women saying that there's going to be a crystal knock by Monday and the patriarchy is back and the country's completely racist now. And how could this happen? And they're incredibly upset. But here's what I'm upset about. I don't understand how 13 million Democrats didn't show up for the most important election of our time. And let's not kid ourselves. The Democrats were ready to reimagine America. That was the opportunity at hand. And we, on our side, we didn't know what the outcome was going to be, but they were confident. But it doesn't mean that they couldn't get their numbers out. Where did the 13 million people go? What was at stake for them? They had a chance to get the first woman president. Not just that, the first woman president of color. And 13 million sit on the couch? I don't get it. They all knew that what was hanging in the offing was 15 Supreme Court justices. No electoral college anymore. No First or Second Amendment. In fact, no Constitution and no patriarchy anymore. And they couldn't show up. Over 13 million Democrat voters just chose not to show up. And what's hanging in the balance is no more fossil fuels. And that leads to the complete and utter Green New Deal all across the country. And that leads to no climate change. And that doesn't get them off the couch. What does it take? I mean, what was in the balance was keeping the welcome sign open at the southern border so that there would never be another swing state, so that all the swing states would be dominated by blue voters. And what about the chance to sexualize children? I mean, in a good way, right? In a good, like a self-realization way, that they understand more about their gender and everything. And no more racism. That won't get you out the... No more racism. Can you imagine that? This is what we're talking about when they say reimagining America. No more gender limits. Where did over 13 million people disappear to? And if that won't get them in the game, how can that be? How can 13 million people give up on that absolute shoo-in wish list to reimagine America? I don't get it.